At a time when the market isn't doing the best, am I concerned when it comes to Casper? The short answer is no, but of course there's a lot of reasons when it comes to that. And I'll explain in today's video, but it's actually not about the reason you might be thinking about, right? Because some people may be thinking, okay, Casper recovered around over 5% in the past 24 hours. Is that why you're not concerned? And this is recovering while the other ones seem to be going down. No. And again, I'll give my rationale in today's video, but I first want to clarify, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and this is just my personal perspective and review. So if we take a look at Casper, okay, sure, it's been having a slight recovery as of late, but if we think about it, around 5% isn't that meaningful in the grand scheme of things, just because Casper has been down for quite some time now. But nonetheless, the reason why I'm ultimately not concerned when it comes to Casper is that it goes far beyond my reasoning, right? It goes far beyond what I'm seeing when it comes to the price charts, because when I take a look at Casper, I'm seeing actual innovation happen. Case in point, take a look at, for instance, the recent mainnet upgrade, right, to version 2.2.2. That was pretty impressive. And then also on top of that, the recent Kraken listing, which is literally one of the top exchanges out there when it comes to this space. So if we take a look at it, Casper has been achieving meaningful things as of late. And also we take a look at their roadmap, right, that they published not too long ago. Take a look at Casper's somewhat intended effort when it comes to AI and even real world assets, or should I say RWAs. So when I see this, I don't view Casper as somewhat of this obsolete layer one blockchain. I don't think about it that way. Now, of course, people like to tell me, but if this is so low, why don't you mind holding? Now, personally, I don't have to hold this. It's purely voluntary on my part. But personally, for me, because my mindset is years anyways, what goes on, in a week, in a month, or 2 months, or whatever, it's just background noise to me anyways. Because, okay, I'm dollar cost averaging approximately once a month. That's what I'm doing. That's just me personally. But the reason why I don't mind waiting through the dips and whatnot is because I'm not looking to leave in like a month or 2 months or whatever. That's not my mindset anyways. So if my mindset was that, okay, I'm only going to be here in a couple months, in a couple weeks and whatnot, like in terms of being in this space, if that was my mindset, I wouldn't even want to be in this space, just because, this is not, I think, a space for me, at least, if I thought about it in a short or medium term mindset. No. If it's a long term mindset, then I don't mind waiting. It's like, for instance, let's say I acquire a piece of property and I'm planning to hold it for, like, let's say a decade or whatever. If that's the case, whatever happens in like the third, fourth, or fifth year or whatever, it's just background noise, because my intended wait time is a decade anyways in that particular example. When it comes to the space, it's kind of like the same principle, at least to me. I don't mind waiting, so whatever happens along the way, it doesn't necessarily concern me, because trying to exit in a week or 2 weeks, that's not my time horizon anyways. If that was my time horizon, I wouldn't be in this space. But because I don't mind waiting for years, whatever goes on kind of in between, it just doesn't necessarily concern me. Now, if I take a look at it as of right now, I just don't see anything wrong when it comes to Casper. Like, for instance, I still like it as a layer one blockchain. I think it's still improving. It has had a pretty good listing as of late. The core fundamentals are there. You know what this reminds me of as of right now? It's like Odysseus in the movie The Odyssey, which I recently watched, by the way. I thought it was an amazing movie. Even my cousin is planning to watch that for a second time. But yeah, besides that point, when we take a look at Odysseus in that journey, like, there was times when he was stuck and whatnot, and he had to go through like troubles along the way, which, just as a warning, spoiler alert when it comes to the movie, right? If you don't want to hear what I'm about to say next, maybe skip like 20 seconds or whatever, but I'm just saying. However, because Odysseus ended up going back home, whatever happened along the way, yeah, sure, I mean, it wasn't good, but at the same time, in the end, he made it. So it's kind of no different when it comes to this space, right? Okay, sure, projects can experience market downturns, but I've never seen a permanent bear market ever when it comes to this space. That's just the thing. I've never seen it. Now, I've seen projects close up shop, and that's a hypothetical possibility for some projects out there. I've seen exchanges close up shop, but I've never seen the market overall, close up shop in a sense, right? I've never seen the market overall experience a permanent bear market. So again, things come and go. Like, rallies, they don't last forever, but sometimes when things are down, they don't go down forever either. So that's why I don't mind waiting. The thing is, as long as Casper can still survive, through these market downturns, as long as it can make it to a moment in time in which the market were to recover, That's all it kind of has to do as of right now, because it already has the fundamentals. Now it just has to kind of make it through the market downturn. That's kind of it. And, if a project is struggling, would they be able to have a recent upgrade lately, right? Like the version 2.2.2. I don't think so. They wouldn't have been able to do that if it was kind of struggling. And also a recent Kraken listing. Kraken, again, is a very massive exchange. Do you think Kraken wants to list something that is like doing so bad? I mean, think about this, right? They're going to do a lot of due diligence. They're going to do a lot of research. They do things with a team. It's not like just out on a whim like that. That's not the case. Now, people like to say, well, this is ranked like 588th approximately in terms of market cap when it comes to the space. It's doing so bad, people like to say. But again, I think sometimes exchanges like Kraken, they don't only take a look at the ranking, right? I think sometimes they take a look at the fundamentals and what's going on. They take a look at the team and all this. So they might have seen something behind the scenes, maybe, hypothetically, in which might have made them realize that, you know what, okay, sure, it's not ranked that high, but at least fundamentally, we see what's going on. So then, who knows, maybe that's why they didn't mind listing Casper. So that's the thing, right? Again, I just don't see anything wrong with it fundamentally. Now, if I take a look at it, when it comes to the market cap, it's around 28 million. So it's still under 30 million in terms of market cap, but we have to think about this. Is the dip necessarily such a bad thing? Now, the dip to me is not something I'm against, right? It's actually my friend, the way I take a look at it. The reason why is because if we take a look at this market cap right here, could you imagine this? Actually, ever since 2021, I've never seen Casper go below a 30 million market cap up until like recently. So basically, we're at like very low levels. I mean, if we take a look at it in terms of, price, right? It reached an all-time low like around a week ago. So if we think about it, around a week ago, Casper was the lowest it's ever been in history. So when people like to say, well, is this at a bottom? Well, I mean, I don't have the answer to that question because I'll never be able to know, but this is basically at all-time low levels. If, let's say, hypothetically, I could go back in time and care about Bitcoin at quote-unquote all-time low levels, or care about Ethereum back then when it was at all-time low levels, could you imagine? If I could go back in time and do that and care about it back then. Now, I can't go back in time, of course, but I'm just saying, like, something being at an all-time low, basically, or being close to that, in some cases, is not necessarily such a bad thing, according to some people. Now, personally, for me, because I am dollar cost averaging, I don't really mind it if things are low, because, again, if I'm looking to dollar cost average, why would I want it to be, really expensive? I wouldn't want it to be that way, right? It's like, for instance, if I go inside a store, do I expect a discount all the time? No, I mean, it happens occasionally, right? But if there is one, I'm not going to complain about it. Like, let's say if I walked inside a store. I'm not saying it has anything to do with this, but it's just kind of like the same principle that I sometimes think about. So when it comes to Casper, again, long story short, I just don't see any good reason why I would be concerned because, again, I still like it fundamentally. And then also on top of that, I don't mind waiting for years. So whatever goes on, like in a couple weeks, in a couple months, it's just background noise to me anyways. I'm not planning to exit anyways. So, things going down, it's not like it's affecting me because, okay, sure, it's down, but I'm not looking to exit. So it's just kind of hypothetically unrealized for me anyways. So yeah, those are the two major reasons why I'm not concerned. I would be concerned though, if let's say Casper was like doing so bad fundamentally and it wasn't upgrading or updating or anything, then yeah, I'd be concerned. But again, they've been updating things as of late. And then also on top of that, getting listed on Kraken in 2026, that's so impressive. Now, if I take a look at it a little bit farther, if we take a look at just not even that long ago, right? Let's just take a look at, let's say, back in July of 2025, so around a year ago. Do you know that actually the journey back to that is around 6 times? Back in July of last year, Casper was not considered that good at all. Like, it wasn't considered like top 20 or top 30 or anything. No, it wasn't. And yet still, we're around like 6 times away from that. Like, what the? That's just how low it is, which again, I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. Now, people like to say, well, this is never going to overtake, Solana or Ethereum. Well, it doesn't really need to, I think, personally for me at least, because if it just goes back to around 180 million market cap, which we saw basically back in July of last year, again, the movement is around 6 times. Bitcoin going back to its all-time high, the movement is not around 6 times. It's around 2 times, but it's not around 6 times. Ethereum going back to its all-time high, the movement is nowhere close to being around 6 times, if it again goes back to its all-time high. So that's just some food for thought, at least personally for me. It kind of showcases that if, let's say, Casper could just recover back to a previous baseline, which wasn't even considered that good anyways, the journey is already quite epic, it seems like, just because it's so low. Now, do I know when it's going to happen? No. Do I know if it could even happen? No. Well, one thing I do know, though, is that I can control myself, and I'm just waiting. That's it. I never only want to hold one project, by the way. I just want to make that clear. No matter what the project is, I just don't want to hold one. But at the same time, when it comes to this, I'm seeing the fundamentals, I'm seeing the upgrades. So again, long story short, I'm not concerned, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But I'll be sure to make more updates as I continue on with my journey when it comes to Casper. So hopefully you all stay tuned for future upcoming videos. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very wonderful and fantastic day.